Okay, so we're going to review what we went over yesterday on the rules for multiplication, and we're filling in our notes. And you can pause the video at any time if I'm going too fast. I'm going to put up mine as soon as we finish. Okay, so when multiplying numbers written in scientific notation, multiply the first factor and add the exponent. That should sound very familiar. I love eighth graders. Y'all get through and don't say a word. Sixth grade, like, what are you next? I probably shouldn't put that on tape. Okay, so the first rule is that red part, you want to write that in your notes. Multiply the first factors and add the exponents. So here's a sample. So we're going to multiply 3.2 times 10 to the negative 3 times 2.1 times 10 to the negative 5. Okay, so in this case, you're going to multiply the 3.2 by 10 to the third power, and then you're going to add the exponents minus 3 plus 5. This part you need to write in your notes right here. Minus 3 plus 5. You got your notes, sir? Where's yours? Oh, you're doing yours on school? Yeah, they're on Schoology. You got all of them on Schoology? You been typing them in so far? So you want to add your exponents. So you're going to multiply the first part, and then here's your answer. Now, I want to caution you, when you multiply, if this number right here is greater than 10, you're going to need to move your decimal. Greater or less than 10, you have to move your decimal accordingly. So if I have to move my decimal to the right, I'm going to subtract 1 from here. Subtract how many times I move. If I have to move it to the left, I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get to it. Now, here's the rule for division. So you're going to divide the numerator by the denominator. Subtract the exponent in the denominator from the exponent in the numerator. In scientific notation, this is the only time we leave negative exponents. Remember in the other lesson I said you can't leave a negative exponent. You can with scientific notation. You do that scientific notation. Okay. So you're going to subtract the denominator, the exponent in the denominator from the exponent in the numerator. So it's going to be numerator minus denominator exponent. And if it ends up negative, it stays negative. So in your next part, here's your sample problem. Divide 6.4 times 10 to the 6 by 1.7 times 10 squared. So in our steps, we're going to divide 6.4 by 1.7 and then subtract the exponents 6 minus 2. So you want to write this part in your notes, so 6 minus 2. And that's your answer. And again, if that first number is not in scientific, it's not between 1 and 10, when you divide greater than or equal to 1 but less than 10, the mask is looking crazy. Okay, then you want to, now I'll show you that as we get into the problems. Now here are the rules for addition. Am I going way too fast? Okay. Y'all know, tell me to slow down if I'm going too fast. I don't mind. Okay. I went too far. Okay, to add or subtract numbers written in scientific notation, you must express them with the same power of 10. So my powers of 10 have to be the same in order to write these, in order to add or subtract. I spill coffee. I wonder how bad that'll look. So you got to express them with the same power of 10. So if they're not in the same power of 10, you got to fix it. So here's a sample problem. 5.8 times 10 to the third, and they want you to add. So it'd be 5.8 times 10 to the third plus 2.16 times 10 to the fourth. So let's convert the 5.8 to 10 to the fourth. So we said if we go left, we add to our power of 10. So we can move our decimal 1 to the left, and we can add 1 to the 3. Let me show you what we're talking about. Since the two numbers are not expressed as the same power of 10, one of the numbers will have to be rewritten with the same power of 10 as the other. So you want to write that down. 5.8 times 10 to the third. If I move my decimal 1 to the left, then I can add 1 to my power of 10 here. So I moved it 1 to the left, and I got 0.58. I added 1 to my power of 10. So now I can add these because they have the same power of 10. So I'm going to add 0.58 plus 2.16 and keep that 10 to the fourth. And that's my answer. I'm getting foggy glasses. I'm trying to cut off the fog. So that would be makes my face look crooked. Okay. So that's how we add and subtract. So far as our practice problems, I want to do, well, the first one, we're going to multiply 6 times 1 and then add our exponents. And I went through these on the tape yesterday, on the thing yesterday. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I want to get down to number 4. So we're just multiplying and adding the exponents. So 6 plus a -5 would give me 1. 4 times 2 gives me 8. 3.4 times 1.8 gives me 6.12. 6 plus 3 gives me 9. Now, let's look at number 4. 8.1 times, let me back up one because it's gone. So 8.1 times 3.6 gives me 29.16. A -7 plus 2 is 10 to the -5th. Okay? But this is not scientific notation. So I have to move this 1 to the left. Since I'm moving to the left, I add 1. If I move 2 to the left, I add 2, but I move 1 to the left, I'm going to add 1 to that 5. Because remember, it's the opposite of what you think on the number line. If you move your decimal to the left, it's positive. If you move your decimal to the right, it's negative. So I moved it to the left, so I'm going to add 1. So this becomes 2.916 times 10 to the -4. Y'all got that written down? Okay. So let's go to the next one. Number 5 is pretty much the same way. Once I multiply 4.9 times 6, I get 29.4. And then 4 plus a negative 3 is 1. Okay, I'm going to change colors here. So this is not scientific notation. So I need a number between 1 and 10. So which way am I going to move my decimal? Left. Okay, so move it left 1. So I have to add 1 here. So I have 2.94 times 10 squared. Yes. Okay. Like put those up there? Yeah. Yeah. And they rounded that 2.916 but to 2.92, but you could keep it 2.916. Now I'm going to go down to number 7. Now number 7 and 8, I'm just going to talk through them because they're on. I'm going to put this up after class. You have to put them in scientific notation. And so if I put this in scientific notation, I have So if I put this in scientific notation, I have 1.5 times 10 to the negative 8. And this one is, I'm going to shorten this one up, 1.02, because don't I want to write all those numbers, times 10 to the 11. And then when you multiply, you're going to get 1.53 times 10 to the third power. Same thing for number 8. You have to convert that. Okay, so we didn't get to division yesterday. Let me write the other one up here so you can write those answers down. Let me give you a moment. If you look on the, not the tape, I'm aging myself by saying tape, but if you look on the video from yesterday, I worked all of these out. You can fast forward it and just get to where we work the problems. Now, what we did not get to was the division. And then tomorrow we'll cover adding and subtracting. So in division, remember our rule said we divide the numerator by the denominator and then subtract the exponents. And she doesn't even have these written in numerator and denominator form. But we would do 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And then 5 minus 4, which is 1. So it's be 3 times 10 to the first. Okay, now look at number 2. No, I wanted that to come back up. Hang on. Yeah. So let's look at number 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we have 4 times 10 to the 3 minus a negative 5. What is that going to give me? 10 to the 8th. So it's 3 plus 5. So make sure you keep up with those negative signs. Write them out. So let's see if I'm right. Because that's 3 minus a negative 5. Number 3 would be 7.4 divided by 1.8. I need a calculator for that one. 6th graders have to do it by hand because they're just learning dividing decimals. So 7.4 divided by 1.8 is 4.111111. Okay? Looks like a repeating decimal. And then 4 minus 3 is 1. So I should have 4.11 times 10 to the 1. So number 4, let's look at number 4. I keep hitting the wrong button. So 8.9 divided by 1.6, and then a negative 4 minus 2. So this is a negative 4 minus 2. So that's going to give me 10 to the minus 6. So make sure you keep up with those minus signs. In number 5, 3 minus a negative 3. That's going to be 3 plus 3. Oh, let's look at number 5 because I see something interesting. Okay, so 5 is 4.3 divided by, let me clear, 4.3 divided by 6.1. Okay. So you get 0.7049 times 10 to the 6. But that is not in scientific notation because that number has to be at least 1. Let me get back so people at home can see the camera. So it can focus. Okay. So 0.7409 is my scientific notation. So which way do I have to move my decimal? To the right. And so if I move my decimal 1 to the right, I'm going to subtract 1 here. So I have 7.05, because I'm going to round that up, times 10 to the 5th. So that's what we got. I backed up because I saw the thing had changed. I went, whoa, wait a minute. Number 6, what's interesting is you have a negative 5 minus a negative 6. So that's going to give you negative 5 plus 6, which is a positive 1. Let me back up because as long as I'm in the camera, let me move this out the way before I end up falling. If I'm in the picture, it won't focus right. And tomorrow we'll have a quiz on multiplication and division. So it'll be up on Schoology. And then I'm going to go over adding and subtracting tomorrow. And we'll have a quiz Friday on that. Trying to be ready for our test Wednesday. So we'll have a couple of practice tests and then we'll go on. So number 7, I'm going to take this number and convert it. Let me make red, something bright. So I gotta put my decimal here. So I moved it to the right. So it's gonna be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna have 9.023. My hand is hitting stuff. So this one is, put my decimal here. So I have 9.023. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 10 to the negative 6. And we're going to divide that by, I'm going to put my decimal here, and I'm moving it to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1.014. I don't need all those numbers. What did I say? 8? Did I do 8? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Times 10 to the 8th. So I'm going to divide these two numbers. 9.023 divided by 1.014. And I get 8.898, which is, I can round to 8.9. And then negative 6 minus 8 is 10 to the minus 14. Don't forget to write your 10. So I just use my calculator. Okay, I got time to do this last one. So this last one, I'm going to put my decimal here. So I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1.27 times 10 to the 10 divided by, put the decimal here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4.75 times 10 to the 6. So I'm going to divide 1.27 divided by 4.75, and that gives me 0.267 times 10 to the 10 minus 6 is 4. But this isn't in scientific notation, so I have to move my decimal over 1 to the right, which means I subtract 1 there. So that gives me 2.67 times 10 to the third power. Okay, I was checking my calculations. Okay, so that's it for dividing. Quiz tomorrow on dividing to see how we grasped it, and we'll also go over addition and subtraction.